Aloha, my beautiful ones, and welcome to this week's Walk and Talk, where we're going to be talking about self-trust. Yes, if you haven't watched any videos of me so far, my name is May Wengel. I'm an energy wave savant and coach for empaths and highly sensitive entrepreneurs. And I show my clients how to learn to serve their own personal energy wave and how to use it to stand in their own power and embrace their gift as an empath. And today I want to talk about the topic of self-trust because, well, it's on one hand, it's our theme for this week inside of the Facebook group. And because I find it is something so crucial and one of the, I would say one of the deeper topics that empaths need to look into for themselves. So why is self-trust such a huge topic for empaths? The thing is that, and maybe tell me if I'm wrong, but at least from my hand and from what I've heard from other empaths, it's a similar problem that we all go through because we're so overwhelmed by everybody else's energies, by everything happening around us. And so what happens is that we start doubting ourselves every decision that we make because we are so, it's like we can't trust ourselves, right? Because, someone tells us this and that, so we follow that and we're like completely there. And a day later, someone else tells us, oh, but that's not very good. So it's like we instantly change our values into what that other person tells us because now we're in their energy, right? And so that's why we sometimes feel as if we can't trust ourselves with the decisions that we make, with the feelings that we have, because we can never know if it is because someone is in our field or if it's truly ours. So how can an empath like you and me come back into self-trust? How can someone like us start trusting themselves again? And today I want to show you how you can start trusting yourself again. Maybe only small steps in the beginning, but trust me, if you start doing what I'm going to tell you today, from now on, it's going to help you on the long run. All right, so let's break it down with trust, because self-trust, I find there's two kinds of trusting that we can have. And one is trust in general, in a divine entity or in the universe and the people around you, or trust in yourself. I find those are very two, at least on my journey, and I find it, working with my clients, that it is two different kinds of energies. One is, I find that a lot of the times the outside trust is way easier than the inside trust. Because we are, depending on how you grew up, with what kind of, thought, what kind of belief system that you were born into, depending on that, you learn to trust God or the universe or, again, some form of entity. We're taught to do so. And a lot of the times, that's how we grow up. The problem comes in when it comes to ourselves, when it is about us, because we know ourselves and we know our dark side. I'm going to call it the dark side. Just, bear with me for today. And, we think because being empaths, we have a very strong, moral compass, right? That keeps us from so many things. And when it comes to self-trust, it's the same thing. Because we have such an incredibly high moral compass, it's harder for us to trust ourselves because we know ourselves. We know our dark thoughts. We know, we know what we think. And a lot of the times we make ourselves worse than we actually are, right? Okay, I'm gonna, so that's why it's harder for us to trust us. Now, when it comes to trust in general, I believe that trusting is a decision that we make. We either decide to do it or we don't. And I'm not saying that it's going to work right away once you take the decision, but making the conscious decision to trust something, if it's the universe or yourself, is our way to go in the beginning. It's our thing, it's what we do, is that we decide to trust something or someone. And it's now when it's easier to trust the outer world, it's easy. That's why we are taught to trust a divine entity, right? Depending on what kind of belief system we grow up in. But then it's so hard to trust ourselves. And why is it so hard for us to make that decision? Is because we only see our personal negative side. We only see us as, oh man, then it didn't work, or hey, I was, my intuition was telling me to do this and that, but then I had a weird feeling, but I didn't follow it, so I did something else. So we don't trust ourselves in general with our own feelings. So how can you make that better? And it's actually very easy, but as easy as it sounds, it's also very hard to do it because of our belief and how we are, how we are created. And so the thing is, it's about to be able to trust yourself again, you need to get to know yourself again. Get to see how much awesome things you do, how many awesome things you have, and how your dark sides can be excused just like anybody else's dark side. Because come on, let's be honest. Whenever it comes to judgment about everybody else, you're always going to find excuses why that person is okay to be mad or why that person is okay to be angry or sad, right? But the only person you're not allowing is yourself. So in order to gain trust with yourself again, it's about getting to know yourself. It's about taking the time to get to know yourself. It's about focusing on you. It's about stop focusing on everybody else. And I know it's going to be hard in the beginning because we've been so used to saying that we're not feeling good because of this and that energy. We're not feeling good because of that person's energy. But it's not about that. It's about how do you feel in that moment? What kind of things do people trigger in you when they do what they do, when they have the energies that they have? What do they trigger inside of you? What thoughts are coming up? And yes, sometimes this might take you to dark places. But the more you learn about yourself, the more you are going to be able to trust in your decisions. But as long as you don't give that a chance, as long as you don't put that as number one, it's going to be harder. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but it's going to be harder. So for this week's Walk and Talk, I hope that you can take this away for yourself to refocus your energy on you, get to know yourself again, allow yourself to do that with no judgment, just as you do with others. I know that you are less judgmental with everybody else than with yourself. So be less judgmental with you. Focus on your own thoughts and feelings whenever they come up. Just refocus on yourself. Allow yourself to be who you are and breathe that in for yourself. And make the decision to trust yourself because you're amazing. And the more you listen inward, the easier it's going to get to have that self-trust. So come join us inside of my Facebook group for a short and quick guided meditation that you can use daily to return back into your own self-trust. You'll find the link below the video. With that, my beautiful soul, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And just remember, you're amazing and you're someone that is trustworthy.